Breaking news, Canelo Alvarez believes that Gervonta Tank Davis beats Ryan Garcia. Check it out.
Do you think he can beat Gervonta Davis?
I don't think so. I don't really think
What,
so.
not yet?
That's when Barack felt the need to interrupt Canelo Alvarez to publicly correct him. Like, man, you ain't supposed to say that. You mean not yet, right? And even then, Canelo Alvarez never said that in few years, Ryan gonna be ready and he's gonna beat Gervonta. He still never said that.
Do you think he can beat Gervonta Davis?
I don't think so. I don't really think
What,
so.
not yet? Or
Not
just,
yet. Not
okay.
yet. If he put his mind in boxing and try to learn and everything, he can do a lot of things. He have talent.
There you go.
He have talent.
What do you mean, not yet? Ryan Garcia is 24 years old. He's about to be 25. He's 22-0 with 18 knockouts. He had more than 100 amateur fights. So if he's not going to be ready now, he will never be ready to fight and beat Gervonta. See, Barack is trying to save face and set up an excuse ahead of time, like they did for Canelo Alvarez throughout the years when he got smashed by Floyd Mayweather, only to get exposed this year by Bivol for being that same flawed fighter, where he was making the same exact mistakes against Bivol that he made against Floyd Mayweather, which further proved Floyd Mayweather's point when he said that the Canelo that he beat is the same Canelo Alvarez today, because he beat Canelo Alvarez in his prime when he was 23 years old, 43-0 as a unified champion that had been a pro for 8 years at the time, which is why Floyd Mayweather said, I was at my best when I was 23, 24 years old. And if you look at boxing history, that's a fact. From Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Oscar De La Hoya, Pernell Whitaker, Sugar Ray Robinson, Roy Jones, Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, all of the way to Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney today. All of these fighters were at their best at 23, 24 years old. In fact, Mike Tyson was the baddest man on the planet. He became undisputed at 21 years old. You have Muhammad Ali, who knocked out the Mike Tyson of his time, the bone crusher Sonny Liston. When he was 22 years old, Muhammad Ali became the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. You have Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, and Floyd Mayweather. They were the best versions of themselves when they were 23, 24 years old. That's really when they were at their peak. Floyd Mayweather had his best performance of his career when he beat Corrales. You even have Devin Haney today, who's undisputed at 23 years old. But let Barack and old media tell it. Ryan, Canelo, and all of the fighters on the hope list, when they 23, 24 at their peak, they still need some milk. See, the reality and the facts are, they will never be ready, because Canelo and Ryan, they simply will never be better than Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta. No matter how much time passed by, Canelo and Ryan will always be inferior to Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta. We know that for a fact because Floyd Mayweather at his worst beat Canelo Alvarez at his best. Floyd Mayweather as a grandpa, a small grandpa, moving up to his 5th weight division at 36 years old, he still managed to dominate a prime Canelo at his bully weight division, where Canelo was 20 pounds naturally bigger than Floyd. Again, Canelo was 43-0 as a unified champion, but that didn't stop old media from making pathetic excuses such as that Canelo in his prime needed some milk because he wasn't born ready to have some.
Oh, he needs some milk.
I was born ready.
At the end of the day, or at least the night, I don't care how long Edgar Berlanga waits before fighting Benavidez or anyone else at the top, like David Morrell, Charlo, Andre, or Canelo Alvarez. The sad truth is, Edgar Berlanga will never be ready. Berlanga is not ready now and will never be ready to fight and beat one of them guys because he's simply not on that level. Just like Canelo and Ryan compared to Floyd and Gervonta. Nevertheless, now Barack want to have a built-in excuse for the TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter undisputed social media champion, Ryan Garcia, once he gets knocked out and exposed against Gervonta Tank Davis. Therefore, when you guys hear old media say, so-and-so on the hope list is not ready for so-and-so on the coincidental list, these are code words. That's all it is. When you hear old media say not ready, these are code words for their favorite fighters not being better and inferior to the fighters they hate. Nothing more, nothing less. That's the absolute truth. Nevertheless, when you hear Canelo say that he don't think that the undisputed social media champion Ryan can beat Gervonta, that's not a surprise at all, because it's an insult to believe that Ryan could beat Gervonta. Ryan better cash out and fight Tank next before Jojo Diaz end up exposing him while he makes nada. Not a single dime, because them followers is not translating to numbers whenever he fights on television or on DAZN. So I'm not surprised at all that Canelo is that much of a fool to pick Ryan to beat Gervonta, because forget about Ryan. Canelo knows if he was fighting in the same division as Gervonta Davis, he would lose to Gervonta, since Tank is light years ahead of Canelo when it comes to skill for skill. And that's a fact. That's why it made no sense whatsoever when Gervonta compared himself to Canelo, stating that he's the Canelo of his division. A few months later, Tank said, "I'm more skillful than Canelo." So why would you compare yourself to a fighter that's less skilled than you, that has way less talent than you? That makes no sense at all. Are you trying to compliment yourself or diss yourself? Because Canelo just got exposed by Bivol losing every single minute of every single round. So you comparing yourself to a loser. It's a fact when it comes to Canelo rivals. He's the weakest link between Benavidez, Andre, Charlo, David Morrell, and Canelo. Canelo is the weakest link out of that group. He's the most flawed fighter. So when Tank said, "I'm the Canelo of my division," he told the world, "I'm the weakest link of my division." At least, that's how it came off. From all of the fighters Tank could have picked, he chose to pick the weakest and the most flawed fighter, which only means that fighters nowadays are more into being liked than being the best. That's why Tank didn't say, "I'm the Floyd Mayweather of my division," and chose Canelo instead. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Akhi TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.
You said, "I am the Canelo of like 135.
Yeah.
What do you want the people to know now?
When I said I'm the Canelo, I feel as though, like, skill-wise,
Yeah.
I feel as though it's nobody on TV that had more skill, that's fighting on TV. I'm talking about, it don't matter, even on the zone. I feel as though nobody have the skills. I have the best skills that's fighting on TV today. I feel as though. That's why I feel as though, and he's the top guy. He's probably the number one pound for pound. I feel as though my skill level can compete with his skill level. Or if not better. Because of little situations that I see of him and things that I mean, people that see it in the gym and tell you.
Yeah.
You said you the Canelo of your division, but Canelo lost to Bivol. So do you still feel the same way, or did that change your mind?
When I said I was the Canelo of the division, I'm talking about the division. I was talking about the skill-wise, skill for skill, and not what he accomplished. I'm not talking about like what he accomplished. I'm talking about skill-wise. If not, I'm much more skillful than I stand on that. I'm much more skillful than a lot of fighters that fight on TV.
That's facts.